over a number of years, and we never got to go.
Although this,
We're making
I guess Dr. West doesn't
We
call
do
it the
occasional. Specific one-time kind of thing, so it doesn't set a precedent.
Occasional, I'm gonna use.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of.
Oh, we do. We're the expert. If you ever need anything, just call Amy. She can do it.
Every month I do it.
If they want to take an extra break for a day, you can
So it'll be the top there. Oh, yeah. There's 750 square feet of time.
You put it in, or you were having somebody do it?
No, I took all the old stuff out and put all the new stuff in. So I bought the Harbor Freight cell. It's a 4-foot air chisel, hook up your compressor, a wide blade on it. So you can use that for taking some, it's actually really good for taking all the extra mortar off. But a buddy of mine gave me one of the demo handlers, a little handheld one. Thank God, otherwise it would have
still been there.
So I got it all out and, I did the laundry room first. All my kitchen's in the basement. It's an old farm. So the laundry room, kitchen, and we put an addition on. So I did the laundry room, got that all finished up. Then started into the kitchen area. And that almost all finished up, except for that's where the opening is. And then I started into the next. So the other thing I was worried about is I had to go back, I could head the Lowe's there for like, once a week to get like 20 boxes of tile. But man, I hope they don't change a lot. If this stuff doesn't match, I'm gonna be miserable.
That was me that day.
I thought, but I was just like,
I got to my truck, I'm like, I turned right out to you, and we're the best. Hey, how you doing? You're like, hey, what?
get out of there.
I had a ball cap on.
Are you part of a lot of, I see the truck and I'm like, you
I don't think so. First of all, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it wasn't.
You're elected.
It's been that way for,
What I expected, I said, pretty good disguise.
we had 14,
Half the time where I want to go, the hours are closed.
prior to that, I couldn't take much.
Yeah, that's what we're having. Those are the great borough councils.
The meeting, joint operating committee meeting of Tuesday, April 6th, is still centered. Would everyone please rise? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Virginia Young,
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Cashwar,
Here.
Mrs. Harris. Here. Mr. Stalker. Ms. Johnson. Mr. Perry.
Here.
Ms. Legaros.
Here.
Mrs. Downer. Here. And Mrs. Estelman. Here. And Mrs. Rule.
Here. Thank you. We apologize for running a little behind tonight. We had an extensive executive session. Our apologies to you. At this time, you want to make this motion?
Pardon me?
You want to make the motion?
Okay. We just want to reiterate that public comments for this virtual meeting was accepted by either phone or email. Follow the instructions that are on the website. And the public agenda was there, and as of 5 p.m. and actually even later today, there were no comments submitted.
Thank you. Executive session was held prior to tonight's meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel matters. The presentation for the students. And now, motion to approve the minutes. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries as stated. Financial items.
I'll make a motion to approve items 7.1 through 7.5.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
I did have a question for Mr. Rice. Under customer service, the general fund has a large amount, 111,000, just sitting there. Are there plans for that? It seems like those are ones from closed programs and other things that have been developed.
I think Jasmine can answer that question. I don't know if you've heard it. Jasmine, did you hear the question?
I heard briefly, I heard customer service and that was it.
It's regarding the fact, because I think you were saying that the IU have a bigger balance and there's something sitting there.
So the customer service account, it actually, the balance that is in there, a portion of that is actually sitting on the IU's bank account that we have. We don't really have a true customer service account. So for presentation purposes, that's the way it's been done. But after the audit, I've been working to separate that balance. So it's not really $111,000. I think it's $11,000 sitting there. Is that what you're referring to?
General, $111,000 in general.
Yes, that's not really what's sitting there. A portion of that is in our fund balance through the AIU. I'm working on getting the true number for our customer service account because we only have about $33,000 in that account. But whenever we record adult ed, I guess like the normal practice was to show it there, but adult ed should be separated. So there's about like a year's worth of things that needs to move out of that balance, which isn't the true amount, if that makes sense. But for board purposes, I was told that we want to represent the adult ed stuff in our customer service account for presentation. So I'm not really sure, if that makes sense to you or not.
In the memo, there were some figures that were put towards the end of that budget memo that indicated the unreserved balances that we have. And based on, I haven't had a conversation with Jasmine about this, but we'll follow tomorrow on it. But I would assume that what she's talking about is that money really is sitting in those unreserved balances. I'm not sure why we told her to do that, but we'll follow up with that tomorrow and have an update for next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Under request for checks to be ratified, we got a lot of them in there with that dollar value.
Yeah, we've had that before.
Yeah.
I think these are standing vendors, and if we don't have anything, we just leave it on.
Because it's in a spreadsheet, and if they don't have something, she puts it in if it's that vendor. And if we aren't paying them that month, then it's into.
Our fiscal secretary produces this document, and she just leaves a placeholder in there each month because those are recurring expenses. If there's nothing, she just leaves it blank instead of taking it out and then the following month adding it in. If there is no expenses, she just leaves it in.
Okay, I'd like to see them off. I think in Excel, if there's no value, you can eliminate that line.
Well, I think with the new system too.
Well, yeah.
Come July 1st, it'll be a completely different system of.
Yeah, but we've seen this before, and
Yeah.
I don't particularly like approving something that has a blank check. And that's
You're only approving the ones that do contain a dollar figure.
okay. I don't see anything that said that.
I had one other question. Sorry. Yeah, the total amount.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a formatting issue. I mean, we could remove that. Just ask Sharon to do that.
Okay, I would prefer not seeing blank checks. or blank, request for check.
My question was, there, in this, we have a number of purchases. There's a $10,000 gas oven here, there's a $5,000 fryer and grill, and then a Joe shooter for $7,700. I have no clue what a Joe shooter is, but I'm sure it's a good one. But there's oil. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes off. I'll tell you that. But there's no way of knowing on these purchase orders and that what is funded through Perkins. So I presume a lot of the equipment is Perkins purchases.
So on the joint operating committee brief, I have a section under there on the finance, the third bullet. Most of the stuff you just described is coming not from Perkins, but from our equipment grant we applied to got our supplemental equipment grant. PDE notified us on March 19th. When we applied for it, they don't give you your allocation amount until they delay giving that. So once they, I had purchases lined up. I worked with the teachers, obviously, when I wrote the grant, I wrote it for certain things that were recommended by the industry partnership committees. But we had to wait to move forward on it until we got our dollar amount. And so we did move forward on that. So I indicate on there the ones that we were putting on this particular board report. But I mean, if you want more information or you want to.
Well, I think part of it was understanding the process of how those are selected. Because the first meeting I was at Steel Center, we bought a $50,000 smoker, which shocked me to no end coming from Brentwood. I didn't even know you could buy a $50,000 smoker, but we did. And it's just, and it's because that at that point, that's what the meat sciences person wanted, is a $50,000 smoker. And then the response was, well, it comes from a grant, so it doesn't matter, but it does matter.
It matters.
So the process is the teachers coming up in consultation with the industry council, providing input into the equipment that they would like to see, hiring people coming out of that program. Is that right?
That's part of it. And then beyond that, I would not have, if I was a direct, I get requests. The auto mechanic class wanted a $60,000 dyno machine a couple of years ago, and I crossed that off their list. A dyno machine is not necessary. It would have been nice to have for them. It would have attracted gearheads from all around. But a dyno machine is what they use to test horsepower. We didn't need that. So I would not have brought to you a smoker for $50,000. So once I get that from them, I then go through and I get my nose into it.
So you're the first vetting of those kind of things.
Right.
Okay.
And the sheet that we're getting, the one that we have is 30 years old. It's old. It's broken down. So using this grant money to replace something that's broken and not, it's a good use of those funds. And then beyond that, even though we're not required until we hit 11,600, what's the amount for 3 quotes? If it's over 15, 18, 200, I'm asking them to get 3 quotes. So we did get multiple quotes on all of these items.
Okay. What is a dough sheet?
Well, it's instead of, when you're making commercial baking, instead of rolling out the dough, it rolls right out.
That's what they use to make the nut rolls.
The nut roll, that's right. It's sticking on sacred
There are
territory.
2 of them. They can get 2.
And the initial one that she was looking at was $15,000. And so once we went through and kind of refined the prices, we got some more information, the sheeter in particular came down in price.
But we're still getting them good quality equipment, because that's what we want them to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To know how to do it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
We need a roll call.
No, that's right.
Mr. Giglione,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Cashmar,
Yes.
Mrs. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Legaros,
Yes.
Mrs. Downer. Yes. Mrs. Castelman.
Yes.
Mrs. Rule.
Yes. Motion carries the state. Administrative items.
Looking for my agenda. Meeting with gentlemen, my recommendation is the board approve administrative action items 8.1.1 through 8.2.1.
So moved.
So,
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Giglio,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Cashflyer,
Yes.
Mrs. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Legaros,
Yes.
Mrs. Downer, Mrs. Castaldo,
Yes.
and Mrs. Rule.
Motion carries the same.
The administration recommends the approval of the following quotes as presented. Replacement of the parking lot lights, approved quote from Custody Electric for the replacement of 8 400-watt metal halides with 138-watt LED lights at a cost of $11,367.20. The other two quotes were also submitted.
So,
Second.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, this has the same lighting capacity as we have up there now, or?
Yeah, the 138-watt LED is the equivalent of a 400-watt metal halide light.
Same coverage on the,
Same coverage on the ground.
and it looked like, did we specify what brand or just that it had to be?
Yeah, no, we, when this all started a couple years back from Long Valley, changed there. I had already started to replace some of ours up here. When the fixtures went down, I would replace them, and they were with only a fixture. And when that came to the board, we approved them replacing all their parking lot lights. I said to Matt, I said, well, why don't you change with the same fixtures that we already started changing up here, and they did. So all those fixtures are the only fixtures, so these are last 8. Actually, I need 10. Now, last year, we weren't sure what the cost increases were, so we put 12,000 in the budget, so I'm getting replaced when I can. I'll have 2 more lights left to replace it next year.
question, Dave, would it be better to just add the 2 additional ones than trying to put them on and restage everything, do both?
We could, this money was approved in last year's budget for 12,000. And I asked Chris in this year's budget to put in at least 10,000 to replace the last 2 lights, plus the one at the boiler house that shines on the flagpole. And also I have, when you drive down by the diesel shop, there's a low light pole out there that's dead. The underground went bad. We tried digging part of it up to see where it goes, and it runs clear up the hill and under the road and back. So we decided that we're gonna abandon that light pole, and either that walkway coming up, either put 4 of the bollard lights on there on the sidewalk, or mount a floodlight to the side of the building to cover that area. Right now, it costs too much money to dig that underground up to try and do it.
But like what Mr. Perry was saying, might it make sense is when they get awarded the bid, if we could do a change order for additional 2, if it's, because a lot of the cost is them getting the lift up here and the equipment up.
You gotta restage everybody again.
And it's,
You want us to do that via email? If you approve this, we can just get that alternative price and kind of give a straw poll in between board meetings, or just,
is that acceptable?
or authorized not to exceed a certain amount.
I mean, I haven't called Custody yet to tell them, so go ahead and order the lights.
These are just simply quotations. You receive quotations, and you can pretty much estimate that for each light, it's 2 hours of labor and 1 hour for the bucket truck, just the way it just, the math is there. So it's pretty predictable what 2 more are going to cost you. So,
Yeah, I mean, I would be more comfortable recommending a not to exceed, even if that's a ballpark, with a little bit of cushion, to have some parameters financially on it.
Because then they're all bit taken care of and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for 2 balls, 250, not one.
They're not cheap, but
No, you're not bringing the new crew on.
Yeah.
Next 6 months.
We need a motion.
Yes, a new motion
When we're on that, we-
Okay, we'll need another motion.
to add 2 additional replacement
Randy and Kevin come up with the same number.
My money's on Randy.
Like at 13,973, so if you put the fifth, Amy, if you said just to give a little bit of wiggle room at 15,000. But if it computes the same way, I'm just shy of $14,000.
Yeah, and I think
That
that
makes sense.
if they can give them to us for those same price, if you don't want the change order to be $2,000 in 2 hours for those other two things, but.
Actually buying two more lights might decrease that, more lights buying,
Yeah.
use it cheaper they are too.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Castellan Electric for the replacement of 8 with the possible addition of making it a total of 10 with the cost not to exceed 15,000.
Yeah,
Think good?
yeah.
Is there a second?
Second, I'll second.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Giuliano,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Cashwire,
Yes.
Mrs. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Legaros,
Yes.
Mrs. Downer. Yes. Mrs. Castelnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Rule.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Dr. Look.
I have no report, thank you.
No report here either, thank you.
Information items.
Yeah, just 3 things I want to point out from the joint operating committee brief. One is, an area that we had some discussion on last month, and I sent out an email, make sure that everyone understood. I decided to withdraw my intention to pursue a NOPI waiver, so we're not going to be doing that. We did take a survey of the students, the seniors and their families, and a sufficient amount of them wanted to go forward with it. So I was given assurance by the Bureau, of course, that get a PDE. There's no consequence to us not testing everybody with the full test. So it was an easy decision to pull that back. The other is just a brief update on where we're at with recruiting for next year. As of the publication of the brief last Monday, we had 327 new student applications. That's not too far out from where we normally are this time of year. And even though we have some new programs, I would expect that number is going to go a little bit higher. I didn't get the final count today off of Mr. Hinkle because the first wave of deadline was the 31st of March, but one of our school districts asked for some more time on that. So we did grant them. They had some circumstances come up that put their guidance office a little bit behind authorizing those. Even though the students are applying online, the school counselors and administrators are still having to approve those applications. So we made a more streamlined process, but we haven't sidestepped the authority of the high school administration and guidance counselors to ensure that the right kids are coming here. So that's important to know that our numbers are about where they should be. And then just lastly, there's a flyer in your packet and more information about, I'm excited about this. It's, of course, it's a sign of the times that we're in, but we're not able to have our normal job fair in April this year. So we've teamed up with the other CTCs in the county and we're having a virtual job fair. There's at this point over 80 employers that are engaged in it. So if you want to just try and log on at some point during that day to find out, get more information, I can get you to log in and I can give you an update next month on how it went. But we were able to successfully connect kids with job opportunities last year while the county was shut down. So I'm assuming we're going to do a little bit better than that this year with us being a little more opened up. But because that's kind of a new initiative or an update, I wanted to draw your attention to that. And of course, anything else you have questions about within your packets as a whole or the JOC brief, bring it up here, call me tomorrow, follow up with us. We're happy to give you more information.
What about any senior activities for commissioners?
Oh, okay, that's right. So also in the JOC brief, can I consider it official yet, Dr. Litz?
You can consider whatever you want to be, I'm still working on that invoice too.
Yeah, we haven't signed anything yet, but we're going to be having our senior recognition ceremony live and in person rather than at the community college where we traditionally do, because they're not available for us to do this with their circumstances. It's going to be at Baldwin Stadium. So Dr. Lutz had generously offered up that venue for us. We think that it works. The largest number of students come here from Baldwin, so folks know where that is, centrally located on 51. We're excited about that. We'll give some more details about that, but that's the official location at this point. And it's going to be the Wednesday, the 2nd of June, with Thursday, the 3rd is a rain date. The 4th is the Baldwin Prom, and of course, we don't want to infringe on that. We're happy to be hosted there under the conditions. So Wednesday, the 2nd, with Thursday, the 3rd being a rain date.
Anything else? Okay. All right. See, our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 4th. Any more comments?
Next meeting's budget approval. Just so you all know.
And I do have one request. Some of you already have gotten this in, but the ethics forms are due by May 1st. I will send out a reminder for those who haven't gotten them in. I've gotten probably half of yours in, so just try that.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries the same.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Monday,
Here? Yeah, we always have to, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
On the yellow one, partly.
Exactly. They didn't change the singing today.
Partnership.
Right, it is. My, dress me up with a see you maybe.
We're getting a cost person. And then it's supposed to do it. Elaine, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready? Well, is everyone else ready?
Yes.
Sure, okay. I would like to call to order the Southeast Area Special School District Joint Operating Committee meeting for Tuesday, April 6th. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Giglio.
Here.
Mrs. Dashwire.
Here.
Mrs. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Stocker. Ms. Johnson. Mr. Perry.
Here.
Ms. Laderos.
Here.
Downer. Here. Mrs. Bellman. Here. And Mrs. Stocker.
Here. We have a quorum. So at public comment was to be provided online. We don't have any public here, so were there any comments for this meeting?
No, nothing was received by the deadline or actually even up till 6 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank the Steel Center and our chef and the students for the excellent food provided tonight. That's the extent of my remarks. May I have approval for the minutes from March 2? Second. Motion made by Mr. Perry, seconded by Mr. Tashwar. Any comments, questions, or corrections on those minutes? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under finance, we have two items. I need a motion to approve items 5.1 and 5.2. Mr. Perry. Questions or comments on those? You did notice that there was an additional item added to the southeast line items. So we have that. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Cashwire?
Yes.
Mrs. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Legaros?
Yes.
Downer? Yes. Mrs. Castelnick?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes. The motion carries. Then we move to principal's report. Dr. Bell.
Good evening. We are about halfway through half the testing at this point, which has been, I don't know if you've heard from your doctors, it's been a little bit of a challenge this year with some of the technology things, but I think we have to figure it out, and we are starting to roll with half the testing. We finished our talent show 2 weeks ago and are currently graphing all those videos together to select them together. I have something to do for that by the next meeting. Planning for prom, planning for graduation. We did a virtual prom last year that went off pretty well. We plan on doing the same sort of thing this year, and our graduation will be in person too. We plan on having it now. But more information on that will come as I get it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Facilities action items. We have nothing.
No, other than the LED bulb project we started down in Montreal.
So we got all those bulbs too. All right. Very good. AIU. Dr. Palmera.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad to be here remotely joining you. I just have a few things to mention. Number one, the COVID compensatory services that students qualified to receive due to potential lack of progress made on last year's IEP goals is going to be delivered the week of June 14th at the Mon Valley School in a day camp style format. Only students who showed lack of progress towards last year's IEP goals qualify. Rich and his staff are in the process of ensuring that all those qualifying students are notified, and the LEA of residents will be responsible for the transportation. However, it is important to note that there is no charge to the LEA for sending their students enrolled in the Mon Valley School to the COVID compensatory services camp. That service is free. We are assuming all costs associated with the compensatory services. So the only district-related expenses would be the transportation. The other thing I want to mention is that our ESY program is running as typically planned. This year, our dates for ESY are July 5th through July 30th, Monday through Friday. Unlike the COVID compensatory camp, which is the week of June 14th, full day from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. with breakfast and lunch served, our ESY program is a traditional half-day format in which students will be participating only during the morning hours. Right now, the LEAs have the information necessary to refer students to the AIU for the ESY program. Those are the updates that are warranted for this evening. When we next meet, I would anticipate that the 2021-22 AIU Services Guide will be prepared to be discussed, and at which time we can share with all members of the Joint Your Committee the pricing for tuition and related services at the Mon Valley School for the upcoming school year.
Okay.
If there are any questions, I would be happy to take them.
Any questions for Dr. Clement? Very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Clement.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Record.
No report, thank you.
Solicitor's report.
No report. Thank you.
Information items. Anything else, Dr. Dowell? Any other business? Any visitor comments? Well, I do want to thank Jasmine for bringing her baby to this meeting. I think that's the youngest public we've had attending one of these meetings in my whole tenure here. What a cute little baby.
Thank you. He didn't want me to sit him down today, so my only option.
Yeah, indeed. Any other comments from the board? No, I'm in need of a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Mr. Stone, seconded by Mr. Perry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Motion is adjourned. Our next meeting is May 4th. We'll know next week. Please go on next.
When I'm sending you
But,
that.
that's IU we have, right? Is it, we have to have about 25 people between the board members and the executive directors, and you need a really large room to do that. And they, since they're not a school, as an educational agency, they have to put all their guidelines, or had to email me when you get before. There's a lot less space.
Here's a list.
What part of the month?
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday? So it's next week. Yeah, I was just curious. Oh, it's this year.
I can get you an invitation.
I was saying it.
I already have. Because it's been involved in this already.
You got good address.
Bethel Park. And CPS has a few here and there.
Oh, yeah.